these are two examples, and I'm gonna let you jump in and add some other suggestions. I know there are plenty, but we're trying to find um, some that might fit into everybody's days and that won't take that much time and that would still make a huge, huge, huge difference. So I'll let you.
Yeah, definitely. I think you talked about the basics. I think you talked about the basics that we are we have to do, and I think that's the beauty of Islam as well, because it is clearly stated even in the Quran that there is a difference between things that we are not, I don't want to say obliged, but we need to be disciplined about, because it's good for us, such as prayer, such as adkar, that are very important to protect us, etc. And since you talked about the most important things for me as well, which is the prayers, the adkar, and the gratefulness, I want to add a side or two to complement what you said with some facts that are very interesting and that might seem really small, but for me they really make a difference, especially for people who are trying to connect more to God. And it's basically for me, like the secret is to try to anchor small reminders throughout the day. There's a very interesting fact I read about, which is in psychology, it's called habit stacking. And the idea is that if you want to keep on doing the same thing over and over again, it's very much advised to link it to something that you already do. So you want to connect more to God. This might sound really stupid, but it really isn't, because the idea, for example, every time you want to drink water, you say Bismillah. And every time you feel like you're nurtured, even saying Bismillah more than just, everything that was discovered lately, that the words have a huge impact on the water and on how the water becomes even on a physical level. It makes you feel more aware of the water you're drinking. And it's really a different thing. Like, please just, if you can do this, and just to be aware and say Bismillah, and to really feel like this water is nurturing your soul, like this changes everything. Like if you say Alhamdulillah, or even if like usually in the Islam world we just say Bismillah before eating. But I see in old movies, I think Christians, and especially old Christians, I used to love how they would be around the table and say those prayers before eating. And I find it really amazing how much it shows gratefulness and how much it shows that like you share something and you raise awareness over things that you do on a daily basis. We always drink, we always have the ability to have water in our houses. Not everyone does. So linking dhikr to things that you do on a daily basis can be a really great way to connect more to God. It can be when you're going out of the house, there are adkar for this, but it can be very simple as Bismillah or La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, or just when you're having a moment and you just sit and put your hand on your heart and you try to connect with the istighfar. It can be like the advice I would give to actually try to have these things or these habits on a daily basis is to try to connect them to things that you already do. That way, you will be doing the same things, but you will add dhikr to it, which is going to make you more connected to God, and it's going to increase your experience, is going to be way more interesting. So, I think this would be something I wanted to share. And another thing that could be a motivation for people who want to start doing this is that consistency actually releases dopamine. So when your brain sees that you're doing things over and over again, for example, if you're really consistent about your salat, and if you're really consistent about your adkar, or every time you do something, you link it to a dhikr, you will feel happier. And I usually used to experience that and I never really could understand it. But you feel like your brain is calmer and you feel like you feel simple joy by just saying very simple things. And this, I think, is what makes regular acts of worship feel peaceful instead of heavy. And over time, the more you add these things, they will really feel like they're natural. And from there, you can start actually adding more things like today or this week. Definitely, it doesn't have to be daily. Like this week, I want to discover what God's name Al-Ghafur means. And each day I just tell myself I will make one research about it. Don't overwhelm yourself in the beginning because it will feel heavy, but you'll be like, I make one research. And now there is nothing easier than that. I'll just go to ChatGPT and ask, for example, to have all the ayat that has Ghafur and understand what does that mean, or Ar-Rahim or Ar-Rahman. And this week I engaged to do just one thing. Or for example, something I started to do lately, and uh, it's really good. It feels like recharging. Is to have some moments when you disconnect from everything, and for example, you just do istighfar. You put an alarm. You tell yourself, I'm going to do 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever, and I will not have access to anything, and I'll just close my eyes and connect to myself and just do istighfar. Like, I think our point is to stick to the basics, as Yasmin said, like salat and adkar and things that we need to be disciplined about, referring to Islam, and add very simple things to make you closer to God. Truly, and by experience, the simpler it is, the more connected you feel with God. I think you feel the same, Yasmin, right?
Yes, absolutely. And you know, I love what you said, because what that does is that it grounds us. When you talked about linking our daily and seemingly insignificant actions to dhikr, what that does is that it makes us meditate without even knowing it, without even realizing it, being in the present moment. And so, if there are any fears, any anxieties, whatever it is that's going on, when we stop and we take time and say, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, at the like, and really feeling it deeply, it's like saying Bismillah and picturing the crystals of the water becoming so beautiful, as you know, that Japanese study that showed what Bismillah does to the water. So it literally transforms it to a form that is out of this world under the microscope. And then you realize how big of a deal it is to say Bismillah with intent and with your heart. And then when you finish drinking and you feel satisfied and you say, Thank you, God, for this clean water. Thank you for this ease of access that I have to this water. Um, what this does is that it distracts you from your worries. It distracts you from the noise, the chatter that's in your head. And although it might seem like just a moment of, feeling good, of good energy, and you might think, well, I just feel a few of these moments a day, they don't mean much. As we said, it's like brainwashing. This literally is what brainwashing means. You can either choose to be brainwashed with by like absorbing negativity all day long and think and feel that, okay, well, it's just a video, it's just like a crime show, it's just a crime documentary. If I watch one every day after work, what could it possibly do to myself? Like, it's not it's not like I spend hours watching it, but still you are brainwashing yourself. You like the consistency in this, the fact that you continuously absorb the same kind of information is hurting you on the long run. And it's the same thing with positive reinforce, like um, with
Yeah.
indulging in small actions that might seem small,
Mm,
this is the muscle that we started with in the beginning of the discussion. This is
exactly.
exactly the muscle that we need to keep practicing, that we need to, like even when you go to the gym, it's not just weightlifting. It's not only the big things like prayer, like tahajjud, like charity. Those are the heavy weights that you lift. But you also need the stretches, that relax your muscles in order for them to heal faster. It's also like the whole process, even the things that seem of minimal impact are needed. They repair you. So
Exactly.
yeah, that's just yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Mhm.
very good example, actually. And it's very true. So we'll jump to the third question, the third and last question, which is very interesting. And it is, how do small, consistent actions actually lead to big change emotionally, spiritually, and mentally? And I think it's the continuation of what we started, um, because eventually change happens in layers. So, do you want to start?
I'll let you start with it because I know you.
Okay. Okay. Actually, I think there is a verse in the Quran that I really love, and I think as much as we learn many things in life, there are, um, in my opinion, the simplest verses, or the simplest laws, or the simplest informations have the biggest impact when you understand them well. And the verse that says, in English, it's, indeed, Allah does not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves, gives us this power to not feel as a victim anymore and to own our responsibility, and to understand that change starts from within. Like, this is a rule that is life changing and that can change your life. At first, it really starts with like, you're like, yeah, I have this power, but I think it's more powerful when you understand that this change doesn't have to be the biggest change. And that's what we're trying to talk about in this episode, is that the smallest change can have the biggest impact. The interesting part is that science confirms that every small action repeated sends a signal to the subconscious mind that we are changing. So just by changing one small habit in your day, for a start, gives that signal to your subconscious saying that this person is changing. And once the subconscious accepts that new identity, the change becomes natural. And even the resistance is not as high as we tend to see it. So it doesn't feel forced, you know? And that's how a person who prays, just for example, 2 rak'at every night, or maybe shafa wal watr before sleeping, or when you start, as we said, relating dhikr to specific habits, this over time makes you feel like you're closer to God more than anything else, because it is consistent again, and because it feels natural on a daily basis. So we feel so for me, it's the best way to change, with small steps leading to big changes without doing huge efforts, and most importantly, getting close to God. So, on a neurological level, this is called neuroplasticity. We hear about it a lot, and it's the brain's ability to actually rewire itself through repetition and intention. And that's what we do when we try to connect to God through habits that we start to do on a daily basis. So that's what we call uh, a tazkiyah. And I think it's one of the purpose of each and every human on earth. Like, it's something we're all supposed to be doing, is to try to get better day by day, to try to purify our souls through small acts and sincere efforts, most importantly. And I think that's the bridge between science and faith, that both teach us consistency to shape a new identity. And when we start shaping this new identity, who can stop you? As we all heard, there is a quote that says, "It's stupid from you to do the same things over and over again and to expect a different outcome." And again, that's really my points for tonight. These changes do not need to be huge changes because usually, and that's by experience, when you start with huge things, it will fail because it will feel very big and heavy and you cannot do them on a daily basis. But when you start with small habits that are easy to put in practice on a daily basis, and if you put them with already habits that you have, it makes them easier, it feels natural, it flows, and step by step, when your subconscious gets that idea that you're changing, you will feel like you can do more and it gets easier and easier and you start adding and it doesn't feel forced. That's the main thing for me. So I think that's what we call the butterfly effect. Am I right? This is what we call it. Like small things. You don't know? I can't remember, but I look
Hmm.
for it.
The
It's like,
snowball,
sorry.
the snowball effect, I guess.
I
I
think,
guess
yeah.
you're referring to snowball. Yeah,
Yeah, it's this
snowball
small
effect.
thing that you're doing, but like after 5 years, you won't even realize it. You feel closer to God. You feel that it's natural. It's a part of your routine. You're getting back better. Your soul feels lighter. You feel like you're purifying yourself, and your consciousness is raising, and you're learning more, and it's getting better, and you're focusing on yourself, which is so not what people are doing now. Everyone is focusing on everyone else. So like for me, this is really what I wanted to share for tonight. And again, I found another verse in the Quran that is so powerful to end what I just shared, which is, "Whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it." And that's how God is fair. Like every little change that you will be making will really have a huge influence in your life, slowly but surely, and most importantly, will get you closer to God.
Mm, yeah. No, I mean, you've worded it perfectly, and you focused on the psychological effects of consistency. And just to add on what you said, there is a verse that to me summarizes this whole point. And it is in Surah An-Najm, and it basically says, and that there is not for man except nothing except what he strives for, and that his effort will be seen. So this is almost the literal translation,
Yeah.
but said simply, it's whatever it is you do. Um, let's say you have a goal, whatever action you take towards that goal. Let's say your intention is to grow closer to God. You wake up today and you go like, okay, I'm gonna do my adkar. I'm gonna be mindful of my tongue. I'm not gonna say anything that could hurt someone, whatever. And then you fail. Let's say that you fail, but I mean, your intention was there, and you really strive, you were fighting. Even if you end up failing, it does not cancel the good work you've been indulging in and you've been really trying to fulfill. If that intention was really pure, if it was only for God and not, like for other people to say, oh wow, this person is wise, is good, and whatever. So I really want to highlight the importance of having a pure intention. Why are you doing this? Are you
Mhm.
doing this for the right reason? And the right reason should always be so that God is pleased with me. I don't care about what anybody else might think or say. My only focus should be what God thinks of me. And this verse to me, um, is the biggest motivator. It's like we have so many motivational speakers who say you deserve, like just keep going, great hustle, you're gonna end up getting there. But now the creator of the universe, the creator of everything, is telling you that whatever you do, whatever action you take, you're gonna see it. السعي وأن سعيه سوف يرى. Like there is no maybe yes, maybe no, in the afterlife, in not at whatever effort you're gonna make, you're gonna see a result. If we don't see the results, then maybe it is time for us to um, take a look at ourselves, our intentions, were they pure? What might we need to do better?
Yeah.
Times we might be doing everything right, but the single most important thing we're not paying attention to, and that is حسن الظن بالله, and that is really believing in his promise.
Yeah.
We might be doing everything right, and then sitting back and saying, well, maybe, if it's meant to be, it's gonna happen. If it's not, then whatever, it's again,
Mhm.
we back to the power of yaqeen. That
Mhm.
should be the backbone. That should be like the main thing we strive to pursue, because it's gonna be the basis from which everything else is gonna stem. So yeah, I just wanted to also highlight this verse because it's complementary
Definitely.
with everything else you mentioned. Like whoever does an atom's good is gonna see it, and whomever does an atom's
Yeah.
bad, it goes
Adam's
both
way of
ways.
that. Yeah. That's
So
very true. Yeah, thank you so much for adding up to this. And I think the most important thing that we both wanted to deliver in this episode is that every act and every moment of effort is recognized by God, especially our intentions, as you said, which is a very important point. And that every time we choose to realign, it counts as well. Perfection isn't the goal, but consistency from the heart is what God sees and wants from us. And we just want to encourage you to actually keep showing up softly but consistently, most importantly. And I think that's where what we call in Arabic baraka lives. This is where blessings actually live. That's why I think when we see our grandparents, etc., we see that they're very peaceful and they're very grounded, and they're not probably people who do the biggest things, but they do the small things with a lot of presence and a lot of intention. And that's something I always admire. So thank you so much, Jasmine. Enjoyed the talk
thank
today.
you.
I hope this will be
Yes.
useful for everyone listening to this episode. We hope you enjoy it, and we'll definitely see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Yeah. See you. Bye.